Welcome back to another episode of the Ambitious AF podcast. On the previous episode, I mentioned that women have a lot of trauma. And so I want to talk about that because I mentioned my drinking. And this is a very common topic that, I think that if we talk about it more often, perhaps we can help each other with, just being human to each other, being loving and whatever. So thanks for being here. My name is Priscilla Parra, your host. There's times where I'm gonna have people on here and there's times where it's just me. But so today I'm just telling you that, the struggle that I've had with alcohol, I've realized that it's not like I'm this crazy alcoholic that's just always drunk and stumbling around or anything, but I know that there's been times where I'm dealing with my stress with alcohol, and then it becomes kind of like my go-to, and that's the problem. And I haven't wanted that. So I've been working on that. And then sometimes just having no control over how many drinks I drink. There's times where, and I know that this is the common occurrence when I have this conversation with a lot of women, is, I start with one, that's fine, you're fine with one. Two, you start maybe feeling a little bit more, and then you want more and more and more. And then it's like, you just kind of lose track, and then all of a sudden you're kind of drunk. You're pretty fucking drunk. That's happened to me a few times. And, and then the weird thing too for me is that there's times where it's like, I'll be completely fine, and then all of a sudden I'm not. And so through my trying to fix this issue, because it obviously causes friction, with your partner or anyone who's on the other end of it. And so, I've had this conversation with a lot of people. The husband, wife goes to an event or something, and husband says, don't get too drunk, because in the past you've gotten too drunk. And this is like every woman that I've spoken with that drinks. And so obviously our trauma, that's what I'm realizing now, is that our trauma is the reason why we don't know how to control our liquor. And so that's why it's like, there's times where it's like, I could have a few drinks, totally fine. Then there's other days where I can have the same amount of drinks, not the same, something's off. And so, and it doesn't necessarily mean my emotional state at that moment, there's something subconscious. So now I've been working on the subconscious stuff through, what's it called? Your inner child healing, inner child work. And so basically what inner child work means that you are, kind of reaching out to those parts of yourself through your subconscious, through meditation, different ways that you achieve being able to pick up on the thoughts that may have been there when you were a child that got stuck in your brain somewhere and never got processed. You just went into fight or flight, survival mode as a kid. And so then, that's why we act the way we act. That's how we think the way we think at times. That's why there's times where we don't even know why we did something. So that's what I've been working on, is the inner child healing. It is an ongoing process. You're never done with it. I've spoken with a lot of people about doing this. And so I've actually had a guest on my show before. His name is Jay Sachs. And back then he was getting into this work, I believe. And, because he was trying to find his place too, because when you're trying to do your own thing and start your own business, some people, like my bestie, just figure out what it is that they were meant to do with themselves for the rest of their life, and then they go with it, right? And they become very successful very fast. But then there's other people like myself where I've been like, I've done well with everything that I do, but I haven't felt like it's what I love. And so anyway, same thing happened with Jay. Now he is a coach for inner child healing work, and he worked with me. I paid him to work with me, and it did help me a big, huge, significant amount. I'm probably gonna have him on the show again, because I really want to talk about this, since I've been having this conversation with my friends and family about this healing, and everyone seems to be pretty interested, because it really does make sense that when we were kids, there was something that caused us some type of trauma, because, maybe you didn't have a chance to talk to someone about it, or you just saw something that just totally threw you off, and it's just there, stuck in your brain, and it causes other shit. So that's what I wanted to address. So if you are someone who is trying to grow and you keep feeling like something like makes you get stuck, or that you act a certain way sometimes, or you can't, by all means, I'm not fucking perfect. And I hate when people are like, oh, you meditate and you do this and you do that, so you should be perfect, or you shouldn't act like that. Oh my goodness, you shouldn't act like that. Like, I'm not a fucking human, right? Like, oh, be perfect, bitch. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. So anyway, if you struggle with stuff where you feel that there's a lot of something inside of you that needs to come out, that's what it is. You need to start healing. And I think a lot of us are starting to realize that we've probably been through some shit that is affecting the way that we behave now as grown-ups. And so, you know, this is where we're breaking those generational curses and not repeating the same shit. Like, this just happened the other day. I smacked Aaron. I do not hit him, because when I had my first two kids, I did used to hit them, because obviously we kind of repeat the patterns. And so, you know, they would behave badly, I would warn them, and then I'd spank them. And then being honest here, I was, when I had Sophia, I was 16. So I was 16, and by the time she was like 2-3 years old, I remember it was like more like closer to 3 is when she was a little more bratty. And so yeah, I would spank her, I would warn her. And so the other day, lately, Aaron, he's been an angel, but he's almost 3.5, and he's fucking, oh my God. It's like, dude, we'll be kicking it, and the toy didn't do something the way that he wanted, and he's fucking just pissed, and he'll throw it. It's oh my gosh. My husband just sent me something on Instagram. I don't know who it is. I think they have a podcast, like something like video podcast or whatever. And they were talking about the wife. She's like, oh God, you couldn't pay me to have another toddler. She's like, between the ages of 3 to 5, hell no. Like, she's like, that's insane. She's like, I don't care if I have a cook and a nanny. I would never willingly be in a room with a toddler between 3 to 5 again. And I'm just like, dude, for reals, he drives me fucking crazy. And I'm just like, so we don't spank him. We try to talk to him, but obviously it doesn't work. Plus, on my my in-law side, they happen to have a little bit more of a stronger temper, so I have to deal with that. And last week was awful. It's just like every day was just like terrible, because then husband was home. Husband is the one who's wrapped around baby's finger, and when dad's home, fuck everybody else. Aaron just loves his dad, which is beautiful and amazing, and Hermes is a great, amazing father, so I'm saying that on the air. But yeah, it was horrible, because then Hermes and I were funking a little bit, and then Aaron was like, God, it was awful. I had a horrible week. Like, I got a little depressed. But you know what? There's someone I follow that says, feel, deal, heal, and I did it. I did my crying. I was upset. I went through, and it even brought up some of the thoughts of when I was a kid, actually. Yeah, it reminded me of when my dad used to turn my sister against my mom and me, and that was really weird to be back at that place. And that's where I'm telling you that inner child shit is good, because I was able to process that thought. I hadn't thought about that in so many years. And so when that went through my mind, I was like, okay, why am I like so extra upset? Yeah, I was extra upset, and I was just like, okay, why am I so extra upset about this? And I really had to think, and it just brought it back, and I remembered, and I was like, oh fuck. I actually even didn't tell my husband this, because yeah. But anyway, we were like kind of yelling at each other, and then Aaron was with him, and it was very reminiscent, and it was just weird. I didn't like it. So anyway, needless to say, he was very bratty last week. And so at one point I kind of got like, okay, maybe if I smack him, he'll stop, right? Like, I didn't spank him. I literally smacked, you know when you smack your little kid's butt plain? I did that. just as hard, because I smacked him kind of good. Not like hard, but not, you know what I mean. So my husband freaked out at me, and that's where the fight started. And so, but I'm like, okay, I tried it, it didn't work, not gonna do it again. We don't spank him, I don't spank him. You know, ultimately, it's adults that shouldn't be acting like this, because there's so many adults that actually act like that, and they have no fucking excuse. But what I've been realizing lately, as I learn the inner child work, I'm learning perspective. That's really what it gives you. It gives you a lot of perspective, because you're now seeing things from a different point of view, and you're also being loving to yourself. And so going through these things, so then you start becoming more loving to other people, because you start understanding. I'll just give you example, the generational curses, right? Most of our parents probably did something to us that were very traumatic, and most of us around my age can admit to this and have changed and have not repeated a lot of the mistakes that their parents made, but yet we still repeat a lot of the same mistakes. But you know, we're breaking some of the stuff, and the goal is that our kids fucking are better than all of us. So that's you know, people don't like talking about this stuff. One of the things that I've always done is I'm pretty open, like what you see is what you get. And I've always told you guys that anything that I share with you, it's not for pity party or anything like that, or if I get a little emotional, that's just who I am. I'm a Cancer, by all means. I'm emotional, but I'm a fucking tough ass bitch. And so yeah, like don't ignore when you are feeling things. Like when you feel depressed, you're feeling depressed for a reason. You're feeling, and if you can't get out of it, then you need to start like finding ways to help yourself, because the truth is we all get depressed, like we all do, you know, but some of us just have that will where we're gonna fight our fucking way out of that shit. And that's one of the things that I wish I could just impart on everyone. I just have courage, have fucking strength, stop being a little bitch. Because, you know, we go through stuff, and the stuff we go through, it really does teach us. It makes us better. It helps us do things differently at the older we get. So we're just constantly improving. We're constantly being better. We're constantly learning, constantly growing. That's the whole point. If we're the same exact person that we were 10 fucking years ago, there's a fucking problem. You need to fucking grow up and change. Go read a fucking book. Seriously, go read a fucking book, because the only way that you're gonna change is by accepting other ideas outside of your own. You have been conditioned to think the way that you think. Plus, doesn't help that the fucking corporations are left and right filling us with shit that's bullshit, lying to us and lobbying to the government to fucking push it down our throats and tell us that it's good for us. All this bullshit. There's too much that I want to talk about. And when I talk about corporations, by all means, I am talking about the fucking polluters. You know who they are. I'm not talking about your fucking business that became a corporation. Like, I'm gonna become a corporation. That's not what I'm fucking talking about. I'm talking about those big polluters and all these companies that have really lied to us about everything. They're fucking spraying our food. Oh God, don't even get me started. Okay, never mind. I know I'm gonna sound crazy, but you know what? More and more people are becoming aware of it. I know that I've had these discussions in the past with people. There are certain things that I've always known about, you know, the lies that are fed to us with our food and the products that we purchase and things. And unfortunately, the government supports those things. And so that I've always known that the president can only do so much. Any president is not truly gonna hold much power over all the shit that the corporations have done. It's gonna take everyone to do something to make all these changes. But anyway, I just went into a tangent into something else, and I don't wanna do that. I'll save that for another episode. So anyway, back to what I'm saying is, you know, the more that you try to learn about yourself and change the perspective of what you're viewing as difficult or obstacles or whatever. Yes, they're difficult by all fucking means. I get so stressed out, my back fucking hurts. And I know there was one day I was meditating And I was like, I know that this pain is from my head. Like, I know it's not really there. And the time I found that out was because I did a Reiki session, and whatever fucking energy I had, like it went away that time for a while. And all the pain that I had in my back was gone. And that's when I really started believing that I needed to really look into new ideas. That's pretty much what it is. New ideas. And more people I know are looking into, you know, meditation and vibration and all these different things. It's good stuff. It really is. And if you dedicate yourself to really growing and becoming, you know, different, a better version of yourself, that it's a constant better version of yourself. So it's like the person I am right now, 3 months ago, I sucked compared to the person I am today. But that's how it is, right? Because we're supposed to constantly evolve. Do not stay the same. Read a fucking book. Read a lot of fucking books. All right, you guys. Thank you for being here. I'm not fucking going nowhere. I'm right here, motherfucker. I'm here. I'm staying. I'm right here.